Good day, dream builder. Hey, Casanova here, and today I'm gonna be sharing with you exactly how much money I made in my very first year as a real estate agent.
What's up, dream builder? Are you someone who's interested in creating a life by your design through all things real estate? Well, I can assure you, you are in the right place. Join me, your host, Casanova Brooks. I'm an award-winning real estate agent and investor as we uncover the top tips, strategies, and the mindset of the top real estate entrepreneurs across the world. Stay locked in because we're about to go on a journey that will change your life.
If you're somebody who you're thinking about getting into real estate, or maybe you're brand new to real estate and you really don't have a grasp of this thing, or maybe you've been in real estate for a while, but you haven't made the type of money that you really thought you would make when you first got in, and you want to know what exactly does that look like if I really put the pedal to the metal and I really just go all in on this thing. I'm going to share with you exactly what I did and how I made my money, and hopefully it can help you along your journey. So first off, if you are new to this channel, my name is Casanova Brooks. I am a real estate coach and entrepreneur, and what I do is I help people turn dreams into a reality through all things real estate. So if you are looking to level up your mindset, if you're looking to take your business to the next level, or if you're just looking to figure out how do you build your network, I'm going to share with you everything of what I've done and how in my very first year as a real estate agent, I did 46 deals in $8 million, and we're going to share with you in this video. Now, a little bit about my backstory when I first got into real estate. I'll tell you, I had no prior knowledge about real estate. Nobody in my family ever grew up as a realtor, or I didn't know anybody who was selling properties. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I was raised by a single mom, and my dad was never around, so my grandma stepped in to lead that way as a young child for me. So my grandma was really who raised me. And as I got older, of course, it became harder to be able to keep control of me because I'm a young boy, and not that I was getting in trouble a lot, but I always had a dream, right? I always was a kid who I wanted big things. I remember my very first job, in my sense it was a job, but it was kind of truest form of entrepreneurship. And what I would do was at the age of 7 years old, I would go over to the gas station, which was a couple blocks away, and I would stand out in front of someone's car and I would say, hey, you know what, do you mind if I pump your gas? And that would give me $1 or $2, sometimes even $5 if I remember right. And just give me tips. So that was the first way that I understood that I could really create my own money. So throughout my journey, I tried so many different things. And then about 7 years ago, I landed on real estate. And how I landed on real estate was I caught a YouTube video similar to if you're watching this right now. If you're listening to it, just know that the video is on YouTube. But if you're watching this right now, I caught a YouTube video. And in that video, a guy said, you gotta find a way to be the Lord of your land. Why? Is because he or she who owns the land makes the rules. And I was like, oh man, like that's so solid right there. And growing up, keep in mind, my favorite game was always Monopoly, right? If you land on my property, you gotta pay me, or you got a mortgage, we gotta trade, we gotta barter, we gotta do something. So I always loved the thought of real estate, but I never had any background on how I was gonna get in. And so when I saw that video and he was talking about being the Lord of your land, I was like, okay, well, that sounds great, but like, how do I become the Lord of my land? Like, I never knew anyone who was owned house, car, business, let alone land. So I was like, how do I do that? Well, I looked deeper into his story, and he started out as a real estate agent. Then he became an investor, a developer, and then he had funds. And I was like, okay, well, cool. Well, look, I don't know anything about owning land or real estate, but here's what I do know. I know how to build relationships with people. I can serve other people, and I can help them buy, sell, invest. And then in return, I'll take my commissions. I'll buy my own real estate, and that is how I'll become the Lord of my land, right? So that was my game plan. That was how I was going to start out. So pro tip, look deeper into the surface and figure out what is a skill that you can use to be able to better up your opportunity or your situation, which is what I did. I basically just used my communication skills. I used my skills of being a server at one point, understanding how to serve other people, and that was what I was going to do. So a couple months later, I wound up getting my real estate license. At this time, things were going pretty pretty well for me. And so why do I bring this up is because at this time, I just put my first house under contract that my wife and I were gonna live in. My wife at the time, she was my girlfriend, but my wife and I were gonna live in. And also, I just got an outside sales job from an inside sales job. And the reason why that was pretty significant, because I knew if you are somebody who you are thinking, man, I got a job, how can I build a real estate career? I was in that exact same boat. But for me, I knew that I couldn't do it from inside sales inside of a cubicle. So what I wound up doing was I wound up getting an outside sales job. And my thought was I would just go up and let's say the guy's name was John, and I say, hey, John. And at this time I was doing payroll. And so I would say, hey, John, you need any help with your payroll? And he'd say, nah, I got that under control. And I'd be like, okay, well, you know anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest in the real estate? Like, doesn't matter what you got, I can help you. So I was thinking I was gonna really become a hustler at this thing. And so I got this outside sales job, put my first house under contract that my wife and I are gonna live in. My mom and grandma also called me up around the same time and said, hey, you know what, there's nothing left here in Sioux City for us, which is where we were living at the time. We want to move down to Omaha to be closer to you, Julie, and CJ. And so I was like, okay, cool. So we wound up moving them down here. And then I wound up going through the biggest storm of my life, which was all within a matter of the next 2.5 weeks. I wound up losing my mom, that job that I had just gotten, and then also the home that we had just put under contract. So at this point, I'm really down and out. And I'm like, okay, well, what am I gonna do? And I was gonna go back and get a W-2 job. And my wife is like, no, you know what? You got this real estate license. You're either gonna jump all in, you're gonna make some shake, or you're gonna always be wondering what if. And you know how that goes. So I jump all in and I'm scared. I had no idea exactly how I was gonna sell real estate. I was in a brand new city. I was in a brand new state. I had no family, no friends, no church group. It was definitely one of the most trying times for me. But I knew that if there was a will, there was a way, and I definitely had the will, so I had to find a way. And so fast forward, within that next 9 months, I wound up doing 46 deals and $8 million in volume. Now, I got the sheet right here, and obviously you guys could see, or I'm gonna put, you know what? I'm gonna put this up on the screen, so you guys can kind of take a look at it. I did blur out the names on this, but you could see the addresses, and then you could see the purchase price on here. And so really, if you look to the left side, you have my close date, you have the buyers and the sellers, we have the addresses, the purchase price. Now, if you're looking at those 3 categories, you could see that I already had it. I built this out right when I first got started. So this was a spreadsheet that allowed me to be able to track all of my commissions. So there was nothing obviously that I can hide from you all. So these were all of my commissions, and then the source, and then this was the title company. Now, if I was using a certain title company, there were kickbacks on it. And again, you maybe can set this up for you as a real estate agent as well. Just make sure that you are disclosing, make sure that you have all of that in writing, that there's affiliate disclosures. Talk to your broker or your team leader about that if you don't know what that is. And I can also make a video talking about how you could set up different MSAs or marketing service agreements. Just drop a comment below, or reach out to me and let me know that that's something that would be of value to you. And so this was extra ways that I was getting paid off of these deals, but of course I was disclosing. And then these were little notes on the right hand side if I was missing a broker flat fee, and then on the right side, of course, it was how much or if I got paid in commissions. And so going back through it, what's crazy about this is looking back at it, my very first deal, which I won't go too deep into it. Again, I've already made videos on these, so if you search the channel, you'll be able to see it. But my very first deal that I did, this was one that was absolutely crazy for me because I got these buyers off of an open house. And what was significant about that was I did not know them up front, and I almost lost this deal twice due to no fault of my own, but because they were already talking and working with the builder. But for me, just because of how I knew, again, if there was a will, there was a way, and every time that they would say, hey, man, you know what, we're actually just gonna hold off, we're gonna go back to the builder, I just never stopped fighting because I had no other deals, I had no other clients. And I remember sending emails and just saying, hey man, I found these properties, not sure if you're interested, but at least just take a look. That was a significant time for me. And what's crazy about that is that was a $405,000 deal, which was my very first deal. Now, if you look down at the bottom of the page, you can see my average sales price was only $172,000. So that tells you that I'm not in California, I'm not in Florida, I wasn't selling mansions. I was really, really hustling, right? And for all of these clients, it was really me showing up every single day, figuring out where my next deal was gonna come from, and I was building my pipeline as I went. One of the first things that I learned with being in real estate, that the prospecting that I did for today was gonna be for 30, 60, 90 days from now. Now, of course, on the left-hand side, you only see the close date, but a lot of these, they didn't close for 30 to 60 to some even close to 90 days, depending on if it was new construction or not. But I was keeping track of it because that told me how much I was gonna make, and that also gave me the fuel. So for this right here, as you can see, most of these deals, they were buyers. So if you're first getting out of the gates, or if you're thinking about kicking off your year strong and you're saying, okay, well, how do I understand that buyers are still out there, right? Now, another pro tip that I learned is there's no such thing as a motivated buyer. So with buyers, you really have to make sure that you set the right expectation up front, because if you do not set the right expectation up front, what's gonna happen is they'll string you along. You never even maybe knew that they had a pre-approval or if they could even buy a loaf of bread, right? And at the end, they'll say, hey, you know what? We're actually just gonna rent for another year. Now, all of that time, all of that energy that you put into those buyers, unfortunately, you can't get that back. And then in that next year, who's to say that their best friend does not get a real estate license, or their cousin doesn't get a real estate license, or they decide that, you know, they're gonna move away to another city or another state, and all these things, which again, you're serving other people and you're not focused on the outcome, you're focused on the process. But these are ways that you can know up front, should you be putting a lot of your time, your energy in? Because I could tell you throughout this first year, I put a lot of time, I put a lot of energy in. But what's great about this is as I look back on it, you see that there was one year and there were so many new clients, so many great things that I learned throughout this year. But at the end of the year, this is how I was able to do that $8 million. And my total commission on this was $145,000. But again, remember, the sales price on it was only $172,000. So there you have it. If you look at the bottom, my total commission at the end of the year was $145,492.64. Now, what's great about this number, I'll be honest as well, is that this was net. I had already did all of the calculations on my split, also with the franchise fee and the broker admin fee. So this was all net to me. And if you want to actually a spreadsheet just like this, you know what I'll actually do? Drop a comment below and say spreadsheet, and I'll give you my exact spreadsheet, the one that you're looking at, and you can plug your numbers in based off of your split with your broker. Also, if there's any broker admin fees that you have to pay, and then any other fees that you have to pay as well. Drop a comment below and I'll get you a copy of this one, and you can just edit it and plug in your numbers. But this is how I was able to calculate at the end of the year. Now, this was not bad, obviously, for a brand new realtor. I was in a brand new city, brand new state, and I really had to figure these things out on my own. But I'll tell you, if I was not organized, if I didn't understand how to build relationships, if I didn't understand how to keep my pipeline full, if I wasn't constantly marketing the deals that I was already working on so then I could get new deals coming in, I don't think that my year would have been as successful. So there you have it. If you have any other questions, or if you want to know anything else, I've made a lot of videos about my journey since I've gotten started in real estate, but also there's a lot of new agents that come to me, and even seasoned agents asking me, how was I able to hit the ground running? So I wanted to go a little bit more in depth on it and talk about these deals that I did. Now, if you like this content and you want to see more content just like this, me being transparent and showing you what my journey has looked like, please drop a comment below, but make sure that you subscribe and hit that like button and hit that bell notification, because then you will be notified whenever I drop new content. And we do drop new content every single week. And we also have our podcast. We have our other channels that we drop new content on as well. So make sure that you're subscribed. And remember, Dream Nation, in the dream we trust. But just as you see that I did on this spreadsheet, calculating my commissions, you got to take action. Because if you don't, that dream that you have, being a real estate agent, being a top producer, creating 6 figures in 9 months or however long that it takes you to do it, if you don't take action, it'll only merely be a fantasy. That's all for this one. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll catch you on the next one.